Hey guys, welcome to my channel. Today's tutorial is just going to be on how to do a very clean and perfected base. So no highlight, no contour. This is just foundation and concealer, trying to make it undetectable and kind of the look I've been wearing in my more freckle focused Instagram looks lately, aka how to wear next to no makeup and still make your skin look really nice. So this is something I'm super into, especially going into the warmer months where you may not want such a full coverage foundation because it's hot and nobody wants that. So this is how you can wear a really little bit of foundation, make your skin look really nice still. So if you'd like to see how I created this clean skin look, then just keep watching. So I just have a bit of moisturizer and primer on my skin. Since we're doing such a clean skin look, I'm going with the Laura Mercier primer. This one kind of just feels like a moisturizer, and sometimes I'll just use Embryolisse alone. So one thing you need to do is figure out what part of your skin you need to fix. For me, I have a bit of redness and dry skin kind of in my cheek area, so I really need to deal with that. And then I also have dark circles. I'm not going to deal with covering my freckles. I like those, so for me that's not a blemish, it's something I like. So kind of a little bit of red spots, I have a little bit of a blemish here, and dark circles. I'm going to be using the Make It Forever, their HD stick. I really like this for clean skin looks. And I actually apply it to the back of my hand first because I need to mix in a little bit of concealer. This is in the color Y225, but it's a little too dark for my skin. So I'm just putting it on the back of my hand and adding in just a little tiny bit of the Y21 concealer, and that makes it pretty close to my skin tone. Sometimes I'll just add a straight up white mixer, doesn't really matter. And then I am going to use the 122 brush by Make It Forever. This is a duo fiber brush. I really like this for applying really clean skin looks. And I'm just gonna start gently applying this to my skin. In this area, I have rather, like my skin right here, basically I have no issues with. So I'm just applying a really light bit. When I get into this area where I have larger pores, I'm making sure that I'm kind of pressing it into the skin and doing a full circle because I want the pores to actually almost be colored on all sides. Otherwise, if you only hit one side, you usually actually don't touch it enough, and then you can just see it more. Down here is where I have a little more redness, so I'm adding just a little more as I go, but just continuing those circle motions. So you can see this side versus this side looks a lot more perfected, but it's not like super heavy. It still looks a lot like skin. You can see the finish of this actually looks really close to my natural skin because natural skin does have a bit of luminosity naturally. So things that are more matte aren't gonna look quite as natural. Areas like down by my cheeks where I do have a little more redness, I just do 2 thin layers rather than a really thick layer. And you can see, even with just a little bit, it's already kind of camouflaging the little bit of a blemish that I do have. My forehead, I don't really have any issues with. I mean, I have a little bit of fine lines and I have a scar, but I'm not too concerned with that. With cleaner skin looks, I find that leaving like your freckles to come through, or like you can see I have a little scar there. Having those kind of imperfections make it actually look, I mean, it doesn't look as perfect as your like really perfected full coverage, but it looks more real. So I like clean skin looks with a little bit of imperfection. I don't usually concern myself with covering things quite as well as I would if I wanted something super flawless. So for me, my biggest concern is under my eyes. I have dark circles, they're hereditary. I also am fair, so they're gonna show up a lot more, and I don't sleep well. So I'm using a little bit of the Pixi, their corrector. This is in Brightening Peach. They also have a beige color as well. Use any corrector you like. And then I'm using it on a furless brush. This is the CB1. And again, I'm kind of working into the back of my hand, so I'm kind of warming that product up. We really want these products to meld into our skin, not sit on top of it, because we do want that natural look. What I'm going to be doing to do this is I'm just going to start patting that gently right over where I have discoloration. So like here, there's not much discoloration. It's a little bit dark, but it's not super blue. I don't want to put it over there. When you're using correctors, you really want to be mindful about where you're applying it because you don't want to put it over skin that doesn't need correcting. This works for any corrector, and this is the point. If you need correcting, that I would correct. So I don't have extreme redness anywhere, so I'm not going to use a green. If you have a lot of yellow spots or like older bruises or anything like that, then you'd want to use purple. It's also going to counteract kind of like a sallowness. Some people's under eye can be a little more on the yellow side, and then you'd want to use lavender or purple for that. If you have a deeper skin tone, you can also go for something more of a true saturated red. So correctors are good, but only use them where you need them. And if like your concealer won't correct it alone. So you can see, even with the corrector alone, before even putting a concealer on, that makes a huge difference in my skin. Again, because that's my biggest problem area. Doing that alone, I could probably leave the other imperfections on my skin and it wouldn't be that big of a deal. Because I want this to be a very clean skin look that's still very perfected, I am gonna go fix those, but you definitely don't have to. So now I'm gonna take a little bit of R20. This is another Makeup Forever concealer. And so my skin is much more neutral. If anything, it leaves a little bit yellow. It has a bit of warmth to it. But I like to use the R because that's gonna have that same kind of pink, which is gonna help cancel any darkness under my eyes. And then I'm going to an E44 by Sigma to apply. And again, on the back of my hand, just picking up a little bit of that. Seriously, tiny, tiny little bit. And just pressing that right where I need it. And I'm really mindful when I'm doing clean skin looks. I'm not bringing it up here where my eyelid actually creases, because then it doesn't look quite as perfected. So once I have a little bit down, I actually just like to use my fingers to really tap that in. Again, the warmth is just gonna help it more melt into your skin and make it a little more skin-like. And I just repeat this step a couple times until it's basically as perfected as I want it. It's usually 2 very, very thin layers. Like seriously, I'm putting almost nothing on each time. I'm just lightly, lightly tapping. And you can see that basically doesn't look like I have under eye darkness. So using a same small brush, you use a blending brush, whatever, I'm going to go in and just set my under eye area. For setting my under eye with clean skin looks, if I'm having a lot of trouble and like I didn't get a very good sleep, I like to use the Besame, their Rose brightening powder. They actually have brightening powders in a couple different colors. So I have Rose and I also have the yellow, but the Rose does the best to kind of counteract any darkness, or the Laura Mercier Secret Brightening Powder, and this one's just transparent. So I'm gonna go for the Laura Mercier today, and I'm just gonna lightly dip my brush in and then actually tap it off because I want almost no product. I like to try to use a blending brush that's clean and just get any of that extra product out where my skin naturally creases. Because again, with clean skin looks, I'd rather have the makeup undetectable and have a little bit of like imperfection than have it look like makeup. And so now I'm just gonna go and just very lightly press this. No bacon, no nothing like that, because we want this to be basically close to undetectable. So I'm just putting that where it would actually crease and where I have like the largest amount of product. So right where my eyelids naturally crease and then into this kind of area. And I'm using patting motions, not sweeping motions. So now my eyelids are set. I'm not gonna have any issues with that, but you can't really tell that I have a ton of makeup on right there. Well, I don't really have a ton, but I have some. So I do have a little bit of redness, so now we're gonna deal with that. Again, since my redness isn't really bad, if you're a little more acne prone, you could definitely correct before if you need it, because we are just spot concealing. I'm using the NARS Radient Creamy Concealer. This is my favorite for kind of blemishes on the face. And I'll basically use any type of brush that's like this. Again, we want something that's dense and soft. You don't want to be just packing this on with a beauty blender. Again, just taking a little bit off the back of my hand. And then I'm gonna basically be doing the same type of thing I did with my eye. Just patting really gently. Something you'll notice, my allergies are really bad right now. So I do have some dry skin around my nose. That's gonna catch. You can make your clean skin looks look super perfected, but you need to make sure your skin is hydrated and exfoliated, because makeup can't really cover texture. it's more dealing with color. So I'm taking a really little bit, and then I'm just kind of pressing it into the nose area. I also get a little bit of redness here, so we're just gonna tap that out real quick. And then wherever else I have a little bit of redness, I'm tapping on a little bit of concealer with the brush and then using my finger to really get it to start sinking into my skin. You can see up here I have a really tiny blemish. I don't know how well you guys can see that. It's not super noticeable. Okay, here's a better one. So if you have a blemish, and even if you have quite a bit of blemishes, you can do this. Take any type of thin brush, like an eyeliner brush, and just tap the tiniest bit of concealer right over the top. So you can see now I have a little spot of concealer. Let that set for like 30 seconds. So now that you've let that set for a second, just do a little tappity tap tap with your finger and make sure you're blending that out without really touching the basically where you applied it. Just tap it out so it blends. And then you've basically made that blemish invisible. There's still gonna be texture. Again, that's not something you can really deal with, but that's gonna help a lot. And because you're not like just putting on a ton of foundation, you can highlight these areas of your skin that don't have any blemishes. Like this part of my skin or my forehead, it looks pretty good. So now you can be like, oh, here's this illusion that my skin's perfect, even though I'm actually concealing other areas. You're basically trying to lead the viewer's eye to areas of your skin that already look nice so that they can just like think in their head that the whole thing's perfect. All right, so now that I have my skin basically perfected, like this is as much as I'm going to be doing, I will go back in with that little blending brush and kind of go over areas that the makeup will settle. So for me, my smile lines, because I'm getting older. If you're young, you might not even have to do this. But wherever my makeup will settle, I'll just kind of brush it off after it's kind of set in. I have a little areas in my forehead that kind of catch a little bit more. And there, that's what we want. So this is all I would do for a very clean, perfected skin look. You could then go for anything that you want with this. You could keep a really just natural look, throw in a little bit of clear mascara through your brows and your lashes and call it a day. You could go for even brighter, bolder eyes and whatnot and just keep the clear skin, which is what I really like to do, especially in the springtime or whatever. This is how I do kind of that clean, perfected skin look that I've been really into this spring. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm going to have another video coming up next, and it's going to be how I highlight and contour and finish the skin off with these clean looks. I just didn't want to put them all in one because it would be a long video. Anyhow, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, and you can subscribe for more videos. Make sure you subscribe if you do want to see how I highlight and contour with the cleaner skin looks. That's going to be coming up next on my channel, so on Tuesday. Anyhow, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys on the next one. See you later.